What is up, you guys? The Fallout with here, and I'm out of work, so now I get to actually do the what if. So, today we're going to be doing at least part 4. No. There's one, two, part 4 to what if Deku was the god of war. Now, I know you guys, I am still going through something personal right now, and I know I kind of screwed up the last one. There isn't supposed to be that much to the last one, so hopefully you guys like this part. There will be a new intro soon. It'll come up soon. I have Loki to thank for that, the freaking baboon cheeks of the society at times. We're making fun of each other, but either way, so let's begin. Now, where I last left off, Deku and Bakugo did the exams, and after that, Deku said he's not feeling well. Well, he wasn't feeling well for the past couple of days. So, he's not anywhere strong, or as strong as he is when he had to fight the Zero Pointer. So, for that moment, Deku isn't doing well. Right now, he's in bed. This is like when the whole heroes versus villain exam happens. So what had happened is Deku is on his bed, breathing hard, and he can't breathe. Like, he's basically sick, so he keeps coughing, and not only that, he's just tired. And Bakugo, Mitsuki is kind of scared, like thinking, is he going to die or something like that? They go to the hospital and they say that it's a weird sickness, because Deku in the beginning, as a child, he believed in being the god of war, but after time, not believing in that, thinking to himself, this was all my imagination, I may have just been born strong. Deku doesn't know he truly is a god. He knows in some ways, or he knows in an aspect that he is something, but at the same time, it's hard for him to, say, oh, I'm a god. That's pretty cool. Deku isn't too believable in this. Yeah, sure, he called himself a god once, but that doesn't mean he truly believes himself to be a god. So Deku right now is going through this weird battle inside of him. Somewhat like Atreus is. Well, Atreus did when he was a child. And it's taking a toll on his body. He doesn't know how to sleep. He's awake, but he's tired. He's sick, but he's understanding his situation here. He's having a lot of emotions right now. Just doesn't know how to, get through it. Now, Mitsuki is right there, lying next to him, or at least having to take care of him for at least a couple of days. And while this is happening, we'll cut off to Bakugo and the others. Now, Katsuki, Toga, and freaking Bakugo, or Katsuki, they're like, what's happening with Deku? Because even they don't know what's happening. why? Well, technically, why would they? Because they don't know. Besides that, they're not gods. It's a whole lot of stuff. But anyway, Deku, he's not sure of himself. He thinks it's just a minor cold. But the second day of him actually in the bed, he is even more worn out and even more like deadish. He just feels like somebody who would have like he's like going into a comatose state. That's what I'm trying to say. And it sucks because he doesn't know what's happening. It's scary for him. Like, if you guys think about it, if you were to be like, oh, am I dying? Am I just sick? Is this natural? He doesn't understand it because he hasn't been sick. Like, Toga, like the rest of anybody else, they would like, they would have experienced colds and stuff. Yeah, they would understand that. They would be like, oh, so it's just being sick. But Deku, he has like it's a magical yet god kind of state right there. Now, let me tell you about Bakugo and the others. They're worrying about Deku, and they're thinking this is probably just new to him. He doesn't understand any of this stuff yet. But they also keep talking to him about him saying that he was a god before. And Bakugo says, yeah, right. There's no way he's going to be a god. Because with the powers I have, there's no way I'm going to lose to him. And basically, Toga smacks him on his head and says, don't be rude to him, he's your brother. And Bakugo's like, oh yeah, don't you, why do you guys defend him so much? And the two of them kind of blush. They're like, that's because he's our brother as well. You're not supposed to do that with brothers. And Bakugo is like thinking to himself, saying it out loud, saying, oh yeah, because me, chastising him or calling him weak is totally not fine. But you guys fantasizing of marrying your own brother, that's not going an inch farther away from my thing. And they're like, this is not the time nor the place. So they go to school and they talk to Bakugo, Katsuki and Toga. They basically ask them questions about Deku. And yeah, they're suspicious about this too. Like, this is actually kind of strange. And they actually have a fond respect for Deku because Deku can connect to them in a lot of ways. Not only that, with his personality of just like he's doing good by others and not actually making enemies out of them. They're wondering what is happening. Sure, they're not 100% sure, but Deku may not be telling them everything. I mean, they know about, Toga and Deku. Sorry about that, you guys. But they know about Toga and Deku being, adopted. So so Toga doesn't know too much about it. But being that, Bakugo and Katsuki understand about, Deku's situation, they think that they would have at least been have been told a little bit of information about this, but they don't know. Now, give me a second here, guys. Now, like I said, we're going to head off to Bakugo and basically the rest of the crew. So what happens after that, Deku is sick, so they go to school and everybody's like worried about him. They think that he's going to be alright, but they're really not sure. I'm going to do the Heroes versus the heroes versus villains. I'm going to do the heroes versus villains exam right now. So, Bakugo does have the same clothing on, but instead of his gauntlets, he has them around his. He has like more smaller ones that can hold in more and that are much more compacted. Now for Deku versus Bakugo, it's actually going to be Bakugo and Ida versus Todoroki and Sero. So while Bakugo was just walking around, and Ida was as well. Ida was asking him, "Hey, Bakugo, do you know anything about Deku and how he's doing?" Bakugo replying with, "I don't know. Right now, we took him to the hospital. They said that something's wrong with him. They don't see any signs of, his body going under some kind of stress. All they see is that his brain patterns are kind of weary. It's kind of going all over the place." But Ida saying, "Well, I know that he's going to do well." And Bakugo says, "Yes, I know as well. But we should take care of these two." And Ida says, "All right." Now, after all that, Bakugo is seeing Todoroki. Todoroki already telling him to surrender. Bakugo says, "That's going to be a hell no for me." And Todoroki says, "All right, it's your funeral," and just shooting out a huge ice wall towards Bakugo and Ida. Bakugo, getting a little bit, frustrated, just shoots out his explosion, and it stops it for a second, but then it goes again. Then Bakugo says, "Oh boy. Ida, Todoroki, you're not really going to, beat me. But say that you did. There's no way I'm going to let a second-rate hero like you do me wrong." And basically starts exploding it again, and exploding it. And he's using actually One For All in this. In a way, he's going with full cowling, but the thing about his full cowling is that, I understand you guys, like, how does he have full cowling? Because Bakugo is smart. It's just the fact that nobody credits him for that. I mean, he did really well to get to UA, so of course he's gonna probably find out how to do it. Now, Bakugo uses full cowling, but his whole body has explosions. It's just like his whole body, all around him, is like popping, like little pop rocks, and you can hear a sizzle with him every time he walks. And that's because the explosions are little, but they're going at a rapid pace. So Bakugo, he pretty much just winds up his fist and releases an explosion the moment he punches the ice, causing the ice to break and turn into somewhat snow, kind of like frozen snow. I don't know how to say it, but with that, these two are fighting. Bakugo actually trying to take him down without having to hurt him, but Todoroki says, "I'm not gonna let you beat me." And Bakugo says, "Is that a challenge?" Ida says, "What do you want me to do, Bakugo?" And he says, go get the guy with the tape, Four Eyes." And Ida says, "Four Eyes?" And this is when Bakugo says, "I have no time for this, just go." Ida says, "Alright." And Ida goes to Sero, and these two are going at it. Now, while Bakugo's versing Todoroki, it's more like he's trying to freeze Bakugo, and Bakugo's trying to
attack him without actually hurting him, because he doesn't want to kill him with his power. He knows how to use it to a good extent, but he's trying to use his fists and his legs more than he's trying to use his quirk. On the other hand, Ida is basically dodging the tape attacks on Sero. Sero almost captures him, but you know, Ida's pretty much he's going all around the place. With that, Ida is basically, well, grabbing him and tying him up, but while that's happening, Sero is actually traps him by getting his feet stuck into some tape, and he does fall, causing Sero to get released from the tape that he was about to get captured in, and starts taping up Ida. Ida loses. Sero actually wins this one, and the whole thing with Bakugo Todoroki, Bakugo says, you know what, because you're actually doing well, I'm not going to hold back anymore. And he actually just explodes himself, causing Bakugo to put his knee right into Todoroki's stomach, and actually pushes him downwards. Because the main idea that Todoroki was going to have was just pretty much freeze up the whole place, and after that, go to Bakugo and tie him up. That's, you know, they're the winners. But yeah, Todoroki would have lost either way. Bakugo does, you know, kick him down, and then after that punches him in the back of the neck, causing him to faint. And after that, he deals with Sero, but Sero is using tape, and, you know, Bakugo with explosions. Need I say more? So, after that, Bakugo, he's the winner. Now give me a second here, people. Sorry, okay, so, where was I? Oh. Anyway, sorry about that, people. I'm kind of groggy right now. But, Deku, we will cut off to Deku because Bakugo, like I said, won. All Might does talk to him a little bit more. He talks to him about, you know, One for All, because he knows that one day it's going to happen, and he needs Bakugo to be ready, because Deku already told him about, like, he wants to become strong so he can protect people from the sinister and the wicked. And All Might said, like, he warned him and said, do not go for this man. And Deku said, why? This man is stronger than you. You may think you're good. I mean, you may think you are the best. And to some degree, I do believe that. But, because you do not have my power, you will never be able to beat him. I understand that it's kind of hard for you to think that you can win, but in all reality, you cannot. I am doing this because you are somebody who's going to have to learn that this is no game. You are a good child, yes, but you do not know the ways of this world just yet. Now, Deku, hearing all this, asks him what's the villain's name, and All Might says, fine. His name is One for All. He is a very dangerous man. I would implore you not to actually try to fight him, because of how strong he is. Deku, looking at him, says, so I gotta beat this man in order for me to show you how powerful I truly am. But All Might says, did you not understand me? I do not want you to fight him. He is a very dangerous man. Deku says, I understand that, sir, but I'm not going to just walk away when something bad happens just because he's going to be the one that's fighting me. I'm going to at least protect the people I care about. All Might says, you're not going to back down from this, are you? Deku says no. All Might says, alright. Well, I will tell you the whole story. And this is when he talks to Bakugo. He pretty much does the same thing and tells him that Deku talked to him about this. So, yeah, Bakugo does understand what he's trying to say. And he wouldn't have it any other way. Bakugo would want Deku to, well, he would want Deku to actually fight him and, you know, see who's the strongest out of those two. But not only that, he would actually want somebody who's an equal to stand with him. And that's why Deku doesn't actually care about, you know, Bakugo winning or losing. Yeah, sure, he hates losing, and he does love winning. But at the same time, he likes to actually understand his mistakes. That's what makes Deku Deku. Now, this, like I said, reincarnation of Kratos, but it's not that bad. So, anyway. So, what happens after that? Well, we head off to Deku. Deku is having dreams about punching a man. He was bloodied, and he was seeing his hands just covered in blood. He keeps punching him, and punching him, and punching him, and punching him. And then he saw him, and then he's seen himself again. Deku was fearing. He feared what he truly was. He knew as a child who he was, but that was long ago. After that, he lived a life that was much more happier. He never actually cared about who he was after that. Sure, I did say that he kept calling himself that title, but that title is meaningless if he doesn't know who he truly is. And Deku, still sleeping, and always kept coughing up blood. Keeps going like that. And Mitsuki cries from time to time because he sees that Deku might die. Deku is actually scared, but he knows that he's gonna get better soon. And then after that, we head off to the USJ arc. Now, Deku doesn't actually go there that day. Well, he does, but I forgot how to say it, but Deku is coughing and he's basically wheezing and panting. Yeah, he's pretty much doing all that. So, when Mitsuki wasn't looking, because they're already going to school, Deku is walking there. And he's actually he grabs his stick. Well, he grabs a stick, let's just say that. And pretty much just like pushes himself. Like an old man, he keeps dragging his own feet and keeps going at this pace. But Mitsuki doesn't know what's happening until she's basically walking towards Deku's door because she's sleeping, and then she woke up because she was a little more tired, and then she saw that Deku was not there, and the bucket of water that Mitsuki intended to bring to Deku fell onto the ground. So did a bar of soap and some hot water. Oh, I don't know if I said this, but Hiyashi, or Bakugo's dad, he's pretty much divorced. I know I said that he does go, he's like with Mitsuki, but what I meant to say is they had a divorce because things weren't working out, and he does help her out from time to time. And yeah, he does come to the house, and then he does talk to the kids, and he tells Mitsuki how she's doing and all that stuff. Because even though they're divorced, they still have to talk to each other. That's communication. That's what parents do. That's what actual parents who are divorced would do. They wouldn't keep fighting over a child and trying to make each other suffer. But parents are weird. Comment down below if you understand what they're going, what they're going through. But anyway. So Deku, he gets out, and he's actually halfway there. The bus isn't going to stop until Deku reaches the school. When the bus reaches the school, Deku feels a little bit more better. I mean, he's actually like getting a little bit of exercise. So he's like, I feel a little weaker, but I feel better. So he's just walking and walking. He actually runs by Principal Nezu, who found out that Deku was sick. And he does talk to Deku, saying, "Oh, hello, Deku. How are you doing today? If you're going, I didn't know that you were coming to school today because, well, I heard about you being sick for a while. Well, Mr. Aizawa told me, but I'm glad that you're doing well-ish. Are you still sick?" And this is when Deku says, "Yeah." Now, why is Deku even doing anything at all? Why is he out of bed, and why would he go in the USJ arc? Well, it's a funny thing that you ask, because Deku, he had a nightmare. He had a strange nightmare, which also involved, like, his family, and all he sees is just the silhouettes of Kataki, Bakugo, and Toga covered in blood and just falling down to the ground. Deku had this dream before when somebody was bullying Toga feeling alone, but he knew what happened, and he actually foretold the future a minor bit. Now, Deku is looking around, and, well, Deku is pretty much just walking even faster, even if it's just like footstep to footstep every second. He's still weak. And Nezu says, "Young man, you mustn't, push yourself. If you're sick, we could still let you have some days off. It's more important for your health than anything else." And Deku says, "I'm gonna keep going. Please point me to the direction of class 1A. Where they're which place is it at?" Because Bakugo talked to Deku, and Deku was talking to Bakugo, and he said, "Tomorrow we're going to do the USJ. We're going to the USJ facility to actually train our quirks on how to save different people in different locations." Deku said, "Well, tomorrow I hope you do well. Tell Toga and Katsuki the same thing." And this is when Bakugo says, "Don't worry, I gotcha." Give me a second here. Sorry about that. So, sheesh, hiccups. Fuck. Now, what had happened is Deku goes around, and Nezu is telling him that they are like, they are on this side. Just make sure that you take the shortcuts because you right now are sick, and maybe I'm going to let you go because I do not want you to like make yourself go. So I'm going to give you all these shortcuts. Hopefully you are doing okay. It's good to have you back. Don't push yourself. And make sure that you go to the hospital, and then after that, give me a doctor's note, like if you're gonna come again. And if you're 100% better and I see it, then I'll be okay with you going, coming back to school again. Like I said, there's no rush. You're a good boy. And Deku says, thank you, but I have to go. You have a good night. You have a good day, sir. And basically, Nezu goes on his merry way. Now, Deku is telling himself, I have that fear again. I don't know why. Why is it that I'm scared? I shouldn't fear this. It's going to be okay. And this is 5 minutes already, and he is so close to the exit. And like he sees the opening, and he sees that Ida just is running past him, and then Deku says, "Ida, what are you doing?" And Ida's like, "Deku, what's happening here? Why are you back? And you look so sick. Shouldn't you be in bed?" And Deku said, "No. I had a dream." And this is when Ida says, "Well, right now there's a bunch of villains attacking UA." Deku says, "What? Where?" And this is when Ida says, "They're in the USJ facility right now. They told me to run as fast as I can, but I need to go. So I'll talk to you, see what I can do, but you don't go over there." And this is when Deku just starts getting more angrier and feeling sicker all of a sudden. And this is when Ida says, "What are you doing? You should be at home healing yourself." And Deku says, "Healing myself." And this is when he starts remembering that he could do something like that. He doesn't believe it, but he feels like he could do it. But right now, Deku's just, covering his head, and it's just like walking faster towards the USJ. This is when Ida says, "Stop! I can't allow you to do that. You are so weak, and they can hurt you." Deku says, my family, they need me. I care about them too much to let them get hurt." And Deku, grabbing his hand, and is just trying to strengthen his arms up, trying to push himself to that limit. Ida says, I know that I'm going to regret this, but he grabs Deku, and he picks him up, and he pretty much just starts running towards the USJ again. A minute later, he goes there, and Deku just says, "What are you doing that for, Ida? I thought you were going to stop me." And this is when Ida says, "No, I know. But I know that you have a reason to be over there. I'm not going to stop you." So, after all that happens, Deku says, "Thank you, Ida." And he starts walking and marching over there. And this is when he opens the door, and he sees villains everywhere. fighting the students, Deku looks around and he sees bad people. And then, with all the strength that he has, he just starts running towards one of the villains, grabbing his makeshift axe, and pretty much chopping, well, basically hits or lands a hit on one of the villains, and this is when he pushes him back. After that, he sees the villains saw the doors open. Well, he saw the doors open and the villain says, "Who was that?" They're like, "Another student." "Well, it's not going to affect us. After him, boys." This is when he basically is just punching another one. And then somebody grabs him from the back. And after that, he actually grabs his axe and just hits the guy straight in the kneecap, cutting it open. Deku grabs him and throws him down on the floor with a wham. And basically, the other guy says, "This kid's kind of dangerous. Grab him." And they try to grab him, but Deku is blocking their attacks, grabbing them, reversing their attacks, and also pushing them away, looking around. And the students see this sickly Deku, even paler than Kratos, and looks more worn out. Deku looks sweatier, much more distanced. It's like his head is not put on straight. This is when Deku is just attacking the other villains, and he's doing good, but he's weakening. He's stumbling around, and Momo tries to run to Deku, but the guys that are surrounding them are, kind of that are surrounding, Momo, Jiro, and Kaminari. It's like they can't do anything at the moment. So Deku is pretty much just, looking around to see what's happening, seeing Momo and the others, and seeing Mineta and Sue, actually with Toga, and after that, Katsuki as well, and, and other people, and Deku looking up in the air. He's thinking to himself, what do I do? What do I do? And then after that, he starts to use his Spartan rage, and actually is using it. But the thing is, he's actually getting weaker, and he sees the Nomu. The Nomu is attacking freaking Aizawa, and Aizawa's telling himself, run away, you guys. And he's just trying to stop people, but he's actually still hurt. So he's on the ground right now in a puddle of his own blood. And Deku starts running towards the Nomu, and just lands a big hit on his freaking face, causing him to stumble for at least one step. And after that, Shigaraki is right behind him saying, look at that. A student actually managed to knock him back with one punch. May not be a lot, but it's actually pretty impressive, kid. Maybe we should take you as well. And grabs Deku. And this is when Deku punches him with a backhand, but not strong enough, because he's still weakening. And the only reason why he's not stumbling at all himself is because of Spartan's rage actually pushing him to, still keep pushing himself. So what happens is Deku pretty much grabs Shigaraki, and he's about to punch him again. But this is when the Nomu grabs him and slams his face down onto the ground. Him trying to even push himself upwards. Freaking Shigaraki says, that must have hurt. But I can see how strong you are. Oh yes, I can see it well. You're not as weak as I thought. Perhaps, maybe, we could experiment on you. Turn you into one of these creatures right here. Oh, that would be fun. This is when Deku says, so you kidnap people and turn them into these Nomu. That's what these creatures are. This one is one of the best. As far as I know, he is the strongest out of all of every other person or any other Nomu that I have. The man One For All created. And Deku says, One For All? Is that the man that's trying to hurt these students? This is when Shigaraki says, oh yes, that's the one that's trying to hurt these students. He's the one that gives the orders, and we're the ones who basically, obeys it. Deku says, you're nothing but a coward. And he gets his head smashed in again. And then after that, the Nomu is pulling him up. And this is when freaking Shigaraki grabs him by his freaking arms and says, these freaking muscles of yours, they're very strong. They look tough, resilient. But I actually want to see you suffer a bit. And this is when Deku starts yelling out in pain because Shigaraki is just grabbing them forcefully, causing his skin to decay. Well, yeah, skin to decay. And he keeps grabbing each hand, just grabbing him and grabbing him and grabbing him, causing it to look like a bunch of hands were imprinted on his freaking arms. And this is when Deku just tries to bite him, but Shigaraki slaps him so hard in the head that basically he's kind of, he's getting out of it. He's losing more strength to the point where right now he can't even lift up a finger. The fact that he's standing right now is nothing more than just a miracle. Shigaraki punches him and punches him. And actually, grabs him by his freaking chest. And he says, feel the pain. You see, I can't even touch my own body. But all of you can just grab yourself, hold yourself, make sure that you feel fine. But me, I can't even love myself. He's actually, doing some monologuing. And I know this isn't all what he would say 100%, but I'm trying to, put some more effort into it. But either way, this is when the Nomu actually turns him around because he wants to see what he looks like. And he sees that there's a big tattoo on his back as well, saying, this is very interesting. Is this a birthmark? Deku says no. It's a tattoo. It's supposed to symbolize something. But what is it? And this is when Shigaraki says, I have no idea. But, Nomu, finish him off. This is when the Nomu actually lets go of him and punches him so hard that he's pretty much flying up in the air. And after that, people can see him clearly. Everybody saw and heard this big loud boom and sees Deku up in the air. And after that, on the ground in a crater. This is when Deku is saying, well, I'm going to die. I thought I could make a difference. Not only that, the villain who's going to go after Bakugo, and maybe the rest of my friends, my family, they're going to die. I don't want that to happen. I'm sick of seeing death. I'm sick of seeing everybody getting hurt. I'm sick of being weak. Sure, I was strong before. Before what? Why can't I remember a thing? This is when he's basically crying. Deku doesn't know what to do. He starts closing his eyes and says, "Forgive me, everybody. I failed you." And this is when an axe. We head off to Asgard. No. Yeah, Asgard? No, it's not Asgard. I forgot the, sheesh. I forgot which place it was at, but it's where Kratos was in the God of War. Helheim, or... I forgot what it was called. Midgard. You see the two brothers that we all know and love. The blue one and the germaphobe. Which they look a little more older now. They have more whitish hair than anything else. Heck, all they see is the axe somewhat glowing again. And they're like, "Hey, Brock, did we ever make this thing glow?" And this is when freaking Brock says, "I don't know, but maybe it's glowing because no way. No freaking way. That there's only one way that this could be." And this is when freaking, well, what's his face? This is when he says there's only one person that can make the axe glow like that, besides Faye. And this is when Sindri says, "You don't mean him." And this is when Brock says, "Yep, I think it's time to let this axe go to its rightful owner. Well, I think we should be the ones that gives it to him, huh?" And this is when they they open up their pockets and they see a spear where a vast amount of power is. And it's not anywhere in the realms that they are in. They're in. This is when they're like, "Alright, let's see. No. Hello. Well, this is going to be something fun, eh?" And Deku is still on the ground. Toga saw this more than anybody else, and she's crying, yelling out for Deku. And she is right now unable to stop them. Now, Deku is on the ground, and he remembers other people. He says, Who are any of you guys? Why can I remember? He's in his own mind right now. And this is when Kratos says, "Have you forgotten us? Have you forgotten yourself?" This is when Deku says, "I don't know who I am. And who are you? I don't remember you at all. But I have a feeling that I do." This is when Kratos says, "Foolish. You have no need to remember me. But it's time for you to remember yourself. I'm using everything I have to push you to that limit, boy. So, remember who you are. And Deku doesn't know who he is. And this is when he starts remembering, I'm something. I'm somebody. I'm unsure who I am. And this is when Brock and Sindri open up a portal and says, wow, this looks weird. This is when Brock said, shut up. It looks beautiful. Our newest creation is finally there. Hopefully he's not too mad about it. But if he is, I ain't giving a shit. So this is when Sindri says, alright, hopefully this works. And they basically grab an axe and tie a stone around it. And they basically chuck it to the portal. And the portal is going. And the axe is going as well. And this is when the portal closes. And this is when Sindri says, do you think we'll ever see him again? This is when Brock says, ain't no doubt in my mind. Besides, hopefully him and the little turd come by one day. It'll be fun seeing them. Now, hey, fucking gratitude. We got some work to do. And if you guys don't know who that is, it's basically the name that he gave his creature or his pet. Because, you know, he doesn't know he never actually named her an actual word. And I know it might be cheesy, but I do like the name. It's kind of funny. Besides that, they actually have something to do for Deku. But give me a second here, people. So, now, Deku, now still hearing everything and is in a comatose state. Basically, well, Mitsuki drove her car and went into UA and talked to Nezu. Nezu, not knowing who she is, because by technicality she talked to him before about, you know, different personalities and such, and not only that, Nezu knowing one for all, and, you know, it goes through every territory about this, you know. So now Deku, Mitsuki, she's talking to Nezu, saying that he is sick right now. Where is he at? Nezu says that he said that you were okay with this, and basically Mitsuki is like, where's my child? And Nezu saying, calm down. He's going to take her straight to him. And this is when yeah, pretty much they're walking, and basically Mitsuki sees Ida pass by, and, you know, Ida talks to Nezu, and everything happens, and he says, oh, we have to hurry up. Now then, everybody gather around. We need people who are strong enough, or people to, you know, every hero, just get your butts to USJ. And this is when All Might hears about this man, hears about Deku and Ida, and, you know, he's pretty much blitzing everything. And Mitsuki is just like, they're all running. Nezu tells her not to go, but, you know, Mama Bear is, you know, not happy that somebody she cares about is getting hurt, and not only that, he's sick, so he can't protect himself. Little does she know, this is the God of War, so, let that be a lesson, people. Never screw with the God of War. Amen. There we go. So, Deku, now just on the ground, Toga and freaking Mina run towards Deku because Mina sees Toga and Toga sees Mina, and she basically is telling them that Deku is right there. We need to help him. Mina didn't see this much, so she sees Deku with basically cuts and a punch, a chest wound, basically looking like it's engraved into Deku's skin. Like, think about this. If you look at your arm and push it, you can see like it being indented. Now think about a giant fist hitting your own chest, and you also have bones there, so it's pretty much there, and it looks so freaking weird. So now Deku is just pretty much on the ground, and everybody, well, not everybody, these two are looking at him and crying and saying, he'll be alright, he'll be alright. Toga is pretty much more devastated than anybody else. Even though they all love him equally, Mina is like very sad, but Toga, you know, the person who she looks up to every day because he's a hero in her eyes, basically is about to die. Because he sees like the breathing, or what little breathing is there. And this is when she's pretty much just crying, and this is when she looks up into the sky and says, like, God, if you're there, just please save my brother. Save the person I love a lot. I'll do anything, even if it means that I have to give up my own life. And Deku, and she looks at him and pretty much says that I'll be with you until you die. I don't care if my own life is gone, as long as yours is alive. And this is when Mina is tearing up and basically saying the same thing. Now, this is when the act is still going at a very fast pace. And Deku is basically just, you know, closing and kind of blinking in a way, and she sees him alive. But this is when the other two actually see, who technically saw mostly what happened. They basically just blitz it over there, and they see what's happening. Now, Katsuki is still in love with Deku. So are the other three. So are the other two. But Bakugo, it kind of hits him more harder than we would initially think, because it's his rival. It is somebody he cares about as well. These students care about Deku so much. Well, his family cares about him so much, and to see the big, like the strong one die, or about to die, it really does hurt them a lot. And Bakugo is infuriated. He's about to march up there and do that, but Katsuki says no. If he couldn't beat the Nomu, what makes you think you can? This is when he says, I don't know, but he killed our brother. We have to kill him. This is when she says, no, we don't have to kill him. Should he die? Yes. Should he pay with his own life? Yes. But he wouldn't want us to do it. We have to do it the proper way, like heroes. This is when Bakugo says, I can't just allow that to happen to my family. And he really did change as a human being, which makes him much more likable. Instead of him calling him Deku, he calls him Izuku. And he does call him Deku, but he does call him Izuku even more. And he keeps saying his name and just really wishing that he wasn't the one that was hurt. Out of everybody, it would have to be his own brother. His brother, not his blood brother, but his brother nonetheless. And pretty much they're just saying that all they wish is for him to be alive. Now, All Might isn't there yet. But what is the Nomu. And basically they see the Nomu, Shigaraki, and Kurogiri there, and Deku is right there seeing him, and he's still in his own little he's still in his own little world, but Bakugo is starting to explode, freaking, you know, Shigaraki, but Kurogiri protects him from this. Not even that, the Nomu does as well, and basically Bakugo just pretty much does the strongest smash that he's ever did, so hard that it pretty much caused a shockwave everywhere. Even the girls were just like pushed down to the ground fast, but it did nothing, even exploding him until his own arms hurt. He kept pushing it, yelling out, "You bastard! You killed my brother! I won't forgive you for this!" And he's pretty much enraged. And this is when nothing is actually, you know, working. This is when basically Shigaraki tells him to grab the boy, and just looks at him and says, "Oh, look at you. You think you're tough, huh? Well, you say that's your brother, huh? He didn't stand a chance. I'm glad that I had the, you know, opportunity to kill him, because that means now that you're coming after me, I would at least make sure the whole family gets the same idea that he has. That nobody's going to destroy us, because we are the League of Villains." Now, the axe is going at top speed, and it makes its way to Japan, and it's basically fueling and going so fast that it pretty much just, you know, looks like lightning, and all you just hear is a crack-a-boom, and lightning just strikes down, and an axe that has stone on it basically hits Deku in the chest, and everybody's like freaked out. Even Shigaraki is thinking, who the hell did that? But it was no hell that did it. It was, well, two dwarves. And Deku starts to wake up, his chest fully healed, everything about it fully healed, but his own body is still weak. This is when Deku sees the axe, and he starts getting memories. He even says to himself, "What happened? Why am I alive again?" And he looks at Shigaraki, and he says, "It's because of you." And he gets up. And this is when Kurogiri teleports him to an right on top of the air, basically on the ceiling. And while that was happening, All Might sees that and saves him. And he says, "You villains did so much damage here. How dare you?" This is when Shigaraki says, "Oh, it's finally you, the man of the hour. Well, I wanted to tell you that you actually did me a favor here. You see," give me a second here. Anyway, so basically he gives this whole monologue to freaking All Might, and All Might says he's had enough, and basically is about to punch Shigaraki, but is met with the freaking Nomu. Now he's actually much more weaker right now, so when the whole fight happens, the Nomu is basically overpowering All Might. And Mitsuki already runs. She's looking at Deku. Deku is on the ground again. They're trying their hardest to protect everybody. The heroes aren't there yet, because she pretty much, I don't know what she did, but she pretty much went very fast. And I know you guys might say, "But heroes are faster." Well, yeah, but when you have when you're fueled with super adrenaline that only a parent could have, you understand that this doesn't mean a thing to them. And not only that, she's ready to kick some ass. But she sees Deku and runs towards her. And basically All Might is saying, "No, stand back. You're not going to be able to destroy this person." This is when pretty much everybody is like weirded out because all they see is Deku, his head being dragged, and everybody stops. Even the heroes that are actually there now, they stop too because they see a student's head is right there. They can't move. They really can't do a thing. And Deku, he's looking and looking, and he's saying, "Where the hell am I at?" And give me a second here. So they go. Well, he's in a black world, not like full of black people. It's just mostly like he's in a place that's full of darkness, and he sees a bunch of people that he now knows very well. His memories come back, and he sees Zeus's face, and he says, "Ah, the man that destroyed the entire Pantheon is back. What have you need of us, O King?" And he sees all the other gods there, wanting to destroy him. Deku says, "Nothing. I'm not the same person you all talked to before. But I know that I did the right thing. I believe I did the right thing." This is when you see other gods saying, "The right thing, huh? After you murdered us. After you destroyed what was rightfully ours." And Deku says, "Rightfully yours. You did not earn the land. You did not earn land. You merely just made it. After all the crimes that you did to each other in the past, you wonder why everything was bad? Don't you understand? This is not who we were supposed to be." And this is when they go right after Deku. And Deku puts his hands up and says, "I'm not afraid of you all. I'll still fight you guys if that's the case." And this is when everybody stops for a second. And they see Kratos himself walking towards them. Most of the gods that have seen him before, or at least the gods that actually were defeated easily, they took a lot of steps back. The gods that he pretty much had to beat with sheer willpower, oh yeah, they slipped back too, except for Zeus. He saw him and says, my. Now, look at that, there is two of you. I have to admit, fighting two of you at once is not easy, but I will still cut you down if that is the case, son. Deku sees Kratos and Kratos says, this is not your fight. These people can no longer hurt you. They can no longer hurt us. There was a curse when they died. I made sure of it. That even in hell, they can no longer destroy anybody. No power, no magic is theirs. Strength is pretty much useless. They only wish to fear you. They only wish to make you fear them by words and guilt. We do not actually have that no more. close your heart to it and ignore the damned. This is when Deku says, why are you here then? This is when Kratos says, I belong here. I still have much to remember. I have much to pay for the killing of innocent people. I am no better than them, but I at least knew that. This is when Deku says, alright then, there's one thing left to say. I forgive all of you. Everybody is shocked. Even Kratos. The most one is Zeus. That was technically shooken with fear. And Deku smiles at them and says, I know that you truly are evil people at times, but hopefully one day, maybe we can all be together and actually make a world beautiful. Now, Deku walks out and says, oh, me. Kratos looks at him and says, yes. And after that, Deku says, I'm glad that I am you, because it means that now I'm no longer a freak, and I'll make sure that our name that we sullied in the past, we are no longer criminals. I am no longer a criminal to the past. I am a hero now, and my job is to destroy those who are evil. Sorry about that. This is when he walks out of the shadows, and he truly sees the light. He sees his son, Atreus. He sees Faye. He sees his daughter and his old wife, and they give him a hug. And Deku, technically Deku, now having his head being gripped by the Nomu. Mitsuki is crying out, and everybody is seeing this. The people are surrounding All Might. Deku sees Bakugo and Katsuki, even Toga, in a stance of fighting, and he remembers where he was at. And this is when the Nomu feels something wrong. He looks at his hands and sees that his hand is no longer there. And this is when the axe that he held comes returning to him, but even stranger now, because let's see. Well, the thing is, Kratos is technically the Leviathan axe. It's changed a lot over the past hundreds of years, because, well, I need to tell you this then. Freaking Sindri and Brock, they actually obtained some kind of immortality. And not only that, they made sure that if Kratos ever needed something powerful to stop another pantheon, because they now know about different dimensions and different gods, oh boy, they will be ready for the day that, well, Kratos needs to be strong. They put everything, their whole heart and soul, into stones, and into rings, and into other stuff, so that no matter what, they can never truly die, because they need to be prepared for a war of the gods. Now, what's happening is Kratos is, well, technically the Leviathan axe has been combined with different kinds of metals and different kinds of weapons. And not only that, it's also a dimensional weapon now. Meaning that Kratos can now, well, technically, Deku can now summon the Leviathan axe And he can also summon the freaking Blades of Chaos. And he can summon other weapons that he has in basically other parts of the world. He has the weapon, he has every weapon, and he made sure that they held on to it. Because the only weapon that they needed, or they could ever get, or not all they could ever get, the only weapon that he needed was his swords and his axe. So he says, these are the treasures that I hold dear to me. Now, this is when Deku grabs his hand and he basically lets it go off of his head and he tosses it and says, I may not be the strongest of the strong. I know that. But now it means that I'm stronger than my old self. Which means I'm going to be even stronger when I get older. And basically grabs the axe and just throws it. He throws it towards freaking... Well, he throws it towards freaking Shigaraki. And the Nomu takes the hit. And after that, he sees that there's electricity. Because, well, we'll say this right now. He sees there was a letter that was there and on the ground with the Leviathan axe, and he was reading it. Nobody was looking. Technically, nobody was looking. Well, Mitsuki saw it, but he looked at it and it had different insignias, and he since he knew how to read different languages. Since the language cipher and Atreus helped him a lot when he was older, he read that how to use the weapons now. So Deku grabs the axe again, and now it's fused with electricity and fire. Well, technically it's fused with electricity because they actually took apart Mjolnir, and after taking apart Mjolnir, you know, Deku can now use it. So, while this was happening, he pretty much just hits freaking, what's-his-face, the Nomu, and he punches him. And he remembers that shield that he has. So he pretty much envisions the shield on him, and pretty much just blocks it. And blocks the whole power of that punch. And he says, I remember everything. And he remembers his family and all that stuff. He remembers his own mother and her face again. And this is when he says, don't worry, everybody, I'm alive and well. And I'll show you all who I truly am. And runs towards freaking Nomu and hacks his freaking arm. And he's pretty much trying to put effort into it, but the Nomu pushes him away and actually punches him. Deku saying, oh yeah, I'm not going to be a god of war if I'm going to die easily. So this is when Shigaraki says, how did you handle that punch? There was a hole there was nearly a crater inside of your chest. What made you this strong? And Deku says, the realization of who I am. And this is when the Nomu's trying to attack him, but Deku, with his hands, pretty much punches him and pushes him and pretty much tackles him down to the ground and uses the Blades of Chaos to stab his freaking arms. And now he can't move at all. This is when freaking Shigaraki says, Kurogiri, help him. But the Nomu is pretty much just trying to move, and he does actually take off one of his arms to do it, but it starts to regenerate again. This is when he sees Shigaraki, and he ducks. After that, Shigaraki says, do it again. And, well, you know, Bakugo pretty much attacks Shigaraki. Oh, no. Bakugo attacks Kurogiri. and he's no longer able to freaking do his teleportations without having to, with, you know, Bakugo in the way. So while these two are fighting, pretty much the Nomu is getting stabbed at and all that stuff. And all the villains that were grabbing All Might and All Might just pushing them away and stuff, trying to conserve all of his strength, the hero starts to, you know, attack. But Deku says, everybody get out of the way. And this is when he pretty much grabs his axe. Well, now that he turns his blades into the axe, and he picks it up, yelling out the breath of the Thalmor. Breath of Thalmor. And pretty much a tornado of freaking frost is moving everywhere, grabbing all the villains, well, grabbing a lot of the villains, and pretty much just putting them in one circular motion, and then they all freaking scatter and hit the ground and stuff, hitting the ceilings, even hitting the freaking, well, hitting each other. This is when Deku runs towards the freaking Nomu. The Nomu now going 100%. These two are going hand in hand. Pretty much Deku has to protect himself because he may be a god, like I said, but he's not immortal. He still can die. So basically he starts going after him and punching him. And this is when they're like, you can do it, Deku. Oh, hold on here. Oh boy, hold on. I actually don't know what that was. Was that Twitter? Wait, oh wow, I never knew I used Twitter, but I really don't know how to use app these days. But anyway. I need to destroy Twitter one day. But these two are going at it. Deku grabbing his shield and actually just pushing him away. And him grabbing the spear of Deimos and stabbing into freaking the Nomu's side. And he says, they really did a lot of work for this. And he says, I gotta put this to good use then. And after that, uses the freaking gauntlet of Hades and starts just punching him, bashing his freaking head in. Not only that, was about to grab his brain, but the Nomu accidentally slipped. So Deku actually was like, damn it. Oh man, I messed up with the timing. So, he starts charging towards the Nomu, pushing him backwards. And after that, he just grabs him and starts moving him. The Nomu tried to grab onto freaking Deku. This is when he grabs, like, he's about to let go, but he's like, oh no you don't. He pretty much just does a freaking German suplex. But the German suplex wasn't the reason, well, the Nomu died. It wasn't the German suplex. It was basically the sword. Not the sword. I forgot what it was. Yeah, it was the sword that he turned it into. And the sword of Olympus was there. And pretty much Deku cut his brain by pretty much throwing the sword down and leaving his head where the blade was sharp. And the Nomu dies. Everybody sees this, and they're shocked on how Deku just defeated the Nomu. All Might was even more surprised. Bakugo the same. But after that, Shigaraki says, no, Kurogiri, we're going. And while Bakugo was actually, wasn't actually paying attention, Kurogiri made two portals. One that actually had, that was next to Bakugo's explosion, because he was like, oh no you don't. But it went backwards and actually went on the side of his face, causing him to knock out a bit. Kurogiri just saying, I'm coming, sir. And after that, they go home. Now, Deku is actually saying, alright, I did it. And he's pretty much holding himself down. Well, he's holding himself up. This is when pretty much Mina and Katsuki grabs him and says, "It's alright. You won. We won. No, technically you won." And Mina was like, "Well, we did a lot of work." And this was like, "Oh yeah, because us coming down to talk to Deku was the same as him defeating the Nomu." Oh yeah, that's 100%. Yeah. We deserve full marks. Oh sheesh. On here. Anyway, so yeah. After that, they actually go home. They are Deku was not interrogated because Nezu, helped him out. Mitsuki is just like holding him, saying, "Don't you ever do that again. Don't scare me like that, Deku. You're gonna give me a heart attack." This is when Deku says, "Don't worry. I'll never leave you or the others because I love you all." And Mitsuki gets blushy. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Take it as you will. Think of it as you will. But yeah. Now everything happens after that. Freaking All Might actually talks to him and says, "I was wrong. You probably do have the strength to defeat All For One. All I hope is that you and Bakugo defeat him, because I'm no longer able to do it. I am too weak." This is when Deku says, I will try my best, sir." After that, they go home. Deku wondering, what new abilities does he have? How does this all fit in his life now? Is he going to have his own super harem? Maybe, because you know me. I like harems, I just don't like doing it all the time. This is the God of War. This is an exception. And I have to make sure I get a lot of inspiration on what I'm going to do with this with the pantheon of women. So anyway, hope you all liked it, and subscribe to the channel. And anyway, I hope you all have a good night or a good day, depending on when you're watching this. This has been the Fallout with a Fear. Bye.